Oh yes, a reading. Great. I'd like to read to you a short piece entitled The Legend of King Arthur. Not to be confused, of course, with the legend of King Arthur. Our story begins with Arthur Pendragon, King of the Britons, who ascends to the literary throne after witnessing a comet shaped like a huge calligraphic instrument, inscribing his destiny across the sky. He is considered by many critics to be a rather unsophisticated writer, but what he lacks in skill, he makes up for in boldness. This is demonstrated by his most significant creative act, which is to compose a completely fictitious account of the conception of his son in order to hide his illegitimacy. This literary project is overseen by Merlin, the greatest speller in the land, and it's so convincing that Pendragon's boy grows up believing every word to be true. The king's downfall comes after a group of rival writers from overseas managed to install a secret underground pipeline between his water supply and his inkwell. Pendragon is unwittingly made to drink his own writing fluid and ends up dying an agonizingly symbolic death. In the aftermath of this tragedy, the English literary scene is in chaos, with many different approaches to writing all battling it out for dominance. Eventually, Merlin decides to intervene by publishing a prophecy that if anyone can pull a magic pen from an ancient writer's block, that person will become the savior of English literature and will go on to produce one of its most enduring tales. Yes. Appropriately enough, it is the young son of Pendragon who succeeds in effortlessly extracting the writing instrument from the stone. The authority of his words and his influence on aspiring writers are immediately recognized as he takes his rightful place on the English literary throne and is crowned King Arthur, ruler of the Britons. As the new linguistic champion, he identifies the bravest wordsmiths and boldest penmen in the land, and invites them to join him at the court of Creator-Lot as knights of the round writing table. The recruits include Sir Lancelot, who is highly skilled in pen-to-pen editorial combat, Sir Bedivere, who can extend any metaphor as far as the mind's eye can see, and later Sir Galahad, who is capable of the purest poetic imagery imaginable. After composing a vast number of poetic masterpieces, King Arthur discovers that his once mighty writing implement has run dry, so he leaves his literary estate in search of a replacement. The English chief ends up visiting a retailer of supernatural writing supplies based in a lake, and is offered a top-of-the-range reed pen by a mysterious sales lady who hands over the item completely free of charge in recognition of the customer's superlative record of artistic success. Armed with this new instrument of inspiration, called L'Excalibur, he silences a great many foes, from jealous amateur writers to embittered critics. But there is one commentator who proves far harder to subdue because of his cunning deployment of critical theory on the battlefield. His name is Mordred Bart, and he comes over from France, bringing with him a whole arsenal of dangerous continental ideas with the power to fatally undermine the authority of the king. The conflict between the two figures rages on for some time, with the celebrated writer displaying strong authorial intent and releasing seemingly vital pieces of biographical information, while his enemy carries out wave after wave of vicious post-structuralist attacks. The war eventually comes to a head at the Battle of Textual Interpretation, in which King Arthur is mortally wounded by the eloquence of his opponent's argument that writing and its creator are unconnected. In fact, Mordred Bart's point is so incisive, he even impales himself on it, since he is its author and therefore cannot decide what it really means. Thus he perishes in the process of expressing himself, but succeeds in his primary aim of bringing about the death of King Arthur. The ever-loyal Sir Bedivere honours the final wishes of his master by taking his pen back to the lake, where a mysterious feminine arm reaches out to reclaim the artistic weapon. English literature's leading light is then carried off to an enchanted location called Stratford-upon-Avon, where some say he passes away, while others claim he merely goes to sleep for a very long time, ready to re-emerge one distant day as the resurrected King Arthur, and once again unite all of English literature.